the fundamentals, and this is from Parashara or Shastra, everyone can access these things. The pada is another word for arudha. Okay. Pada of Tanubhava is the Pradhana pada. Tanubhava is the lagna. Tanu means body. It is the lagna which we are talking about. So that is the Pradhana pada, meaning it is the most important arudha. Okay. And the one which follows it, Anuchara, means pada of Anuchara of Tanubhava. Anuchara means one who follows. Okay, and we discussed that just now. Right. That is Upapada. The word Upa itself indicates that it is very close to. We have words like Upanishad, Upasana, and so on. All these indicate something which is very close, sitting next to. So the Upapada is something which is very important and next to. And it's interesting that in the entire Parashara or Shastra, Maharishi Parashara talks about Arudha Lagna. There are chapters devoted to Arudha Lagna, and there are chapters devoted to Upapada. Not as much the other Arudha. So that is the importance of Upapada. Okay.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the topic? Why? Lots of the jyotishis, they don't even look at arudha and even more at upapada. Why arudha is important as it is? I mean, many people just look for lagna as the important house. Why do we look at arudha? What is the difference between arudha and lagna? What is the difference between 12th house? Why can we look at the 12th house as you described it? Why should we look at upapada?
So firstly, why do we look at arudha, right? So arudha is, see, this world when we look at, okay, at one level, if we look from I'm going at a very philosophical level first, and then we'll come down. So if you say Advaita, Advaita says there is nothing different, there's only one, right? But when we get into samsara, there is not one, there is two, right? There is the Atman or the Brahman, and then there is the world around. Okay, the world around, which we call Maya, it is not like it is not real, right? In our frame of living existence, it is real, right? We cannot expect that there is no world around me. We need to be a very, very high level of saint to be of that level, right? Now, what matters here is not just what you are within you, your soul, your mind, your manas, not just that, but what is outside also. Right? I am a jyotishi. Not just because I've learned jyotish and all that, but I am also someone who's seen by people as a jyotishi. Right? If people don't accept me as jyotishi, then however much learning I have of jyotish, it is not really of that much matter. It may not amount to much. The people, the society has to also accept me as that, right? So it is the image of me, okay. But it is not just something unreal. It really matters quite a lot. Okay, for most people, it is all that people see of them. Okay, so hence okay, your lagna is phenomenal. Your Jupiter in lagna in Digbala, very well placed. Your Hamsa Mahapurush Yoga, all that is fine. But do people see that? Do people see that level of intellect you are having? Okay. The heights to which your brain can go, your intellect can go. Do people see that? Okay. Are you seen as like that? Are you seen as someone who's that intelligent? So Arudha is, is that image being accepted by people around.
Perception.
And this is not just, this is for every bhava, it is in the same way. Okay. And the most important person, in your life, who can influence and shape your life, is the people you are having relationship with. Your spouse, most important amongst them. They are witness to all your actions. Okay, so hence that also is an equally important arudha, that upapada. Okay, and from there you can actually independently look at those people. Okay, what is the image that they are having? Okay, Hillary Clinton, whose chart we will see, her Upapada lagna is having moon in it, very well placed. Okay, a spouse who will be very popular. Right. So that is what you're able to see from there. That is the image. What is the image the spouse will have? What will be recognized in the society as? If you just look at the 12th house or 7th house, you may see what they are within themselves as a person. Okay, and that's where it's pertinent to say it right away. The 12th house is a very determining factor of what the Upapada will be. Suppose your 12th house has Jupiter, and one of your Upapada, let's say the first Upapada is having Rahu. Okay, that Jupiter will not accept that Rahu. Because the 12th house is your bhava, is your thinking of what you want your partner to be like. The person, the life partner who will be with you in every, in ups and downs, in all the situations, how he should be like. That you want a Jupiter, you are thinking of Jupiter. So if the Upapada is having a Rahu, it will not be accepted.
Interesting. So the grahas should be friends with each other. They should correlate in order 12th house and Upapada to be friends between themselves in order this Upapada to rise up.
Yeah. For that Upapada to manifest, for a partner to come through that, with whom you will have a relationship. A long-term relationship, that is. Okay. So that's what Upapada is called. Gaunapada. What does the word Gauna come from? Gauna comes from Guna, right? We have Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas gunas. Guna is the quality, the virtue, the level of goodness or whatever you have in you. Okay. It is showing where you are heading to. Okay, because I said 12th house is also the gati, right? Are you going to the temple or are you going to the bar or tavern? Which direction are you going? Your spouse, depending on the kind of spouse you have, that affects your guna. It can go up or down.
Okay. Spouse is very influencing one's guna.
Yeah. Very true. I mean, the 12th house is a big influence on your guna. And someone who has a Jupiter in 12th house is fantastic. It's one of the best things, really. You may say Jupiter is weak, but no. The Jupiter is keeping the guna of the person very high. He's a very giving kind of person.
Yeah, true.
Some basics, like any other bhava, benefic sign, benefic planets in the Upapada or aspecting Upapada are good. Malefic planets, malefic signs are not good. You may say question arises when say it's a malefic which is also lauding the Upapada.
Or exalted, or exalted, for example.
Or exalted.
Or benefic.
Right? So then you cannot blanket say that it will do bad. Okay, but yet there will be some problem. A malefic's nature is to cause some issue. Okay, and that's where you have to judge, and we'll have some cases where we'll see those scenarios as well. Okay, Sun. Now you say, okay, malefic, benefic. Where does Sun fit in? Okay, Sun is Krura, but not Papa. Okay, so the Gemini says very clearly that Sun is always good for Upapada. Okay.
Because it's for the dharma. Because sun represents dharma and relationships and strong relationships. Sometimes they bond on the dharma, having children, playing your role in the relationship, being a man, being a woman.
Yes.
Because of that, right?
Yes. Though, since you asked this question, what comes to my mind is that since you said that the 12th house is related to guna of a person, and Sun is a Sattva guna planet.
Sattva as well, yeah, that's true.
So that is an important thing that now. But if this Sun is debilitated, or if it is in an inimical sign, then it may not be that good. Okay, so you have to judge those things very carefully. Okay, On the other hand, sun is well placed, exalted, or in friendly sign, it will always be good. It will not cause a problem. Okay. Go to the next slide. Okay. Now, in the case of Upapada, second house is also an important house we see. Understand the second house from the Upapada is also an important point from which we understand the Upapada itself. Okay. The second house is always related to the duration, longevity, okay, of something, and also when something ends. So let's say you have all benefics and everything good in Upapada, but let's say you're malefic in related to second house from Upapada, then that is something which will try to end the marriage, okay, or it will cause diseases to the spouse if not end the marriage, okay, either one of that. Or when you end the marriage, like during the marriage things will be all fine and hunky-dory because benefics associated with Upapada, but after you end the marriage, what is going to happen? If there is malefics associated, then you will have a very tough period. Okay. So how is it during the relationship and how it is after ending the relationship? That is the distinction between the Upapada itself and the second from Upapada.
Interesting.
We also got to see Venus and Dharakaraka as well. Okay. Dharakaraka is the Charakaraka related to relationships. Okay. So Venus and in fact we have a specific rule also. We say that preferably in Upapada which has Venus in trines, okay, and Jupiter in Kendra, okay, so Venus in trines ensures that there is affection between the two people, and Jupiter in Kendra ensures that there is stability in the relationship. Because Kendra is about stability, about resources. You're sustained.
Where Dharakaraka should be placed then? In Kendra, trines, or Dharakaraka?
So, in this instance, what I would say is the Dharakaraka itself, you see, the way of understanding Dharakaraka is very different. Okay. We'll not be covering or dwelling on that today that much because one has to understand Charakarakas and all those. It's a different
it's another topic, yeah.
But mainly what you want to see is the Dharakaraka should have a good sambandha with the Atmakaraka.
I see.
Where should you see Dharakaraka from? You should see how it is vis-a-vis the Atmakaraka. And also, obviously, you don't want the Dharakaraka afflicted and all that. That also causes issues. Okay. So the point about bringing Dharakaraka is to understand that there are Karakas also, which you have to understand. Okay. Because the Karaka is ultimately what will come from God. Okay. So the Venus you will see especially as a relationship starts and develops, and the Dharakaraka is very important in terms of the sustenance and continuity of the relationship. Okay. Jupiter, why Jupiter? Why I said Jupiter should be in Kendra is because Jupiter is a kind of a sub-Karaka for the 12th house, and it is also the natural lord of the 12th house. Okay. Jupiter is a planet whose Swakshetra is Pisces. Okay. For Ketu, it is Mula Trikona. It is his office, it is his work. But for Jupiter, it is Swakshetra. Swakshetra means somewhere where you are comfortable. Okay. When you go back home, what do you want? You don't want to work. You want to go and relax, right? You want to re-energize, recharge your batteries, right? So Jupiter as Swakshetra indicates that, So hence Jupiter being well placed from the Upapada lagna or linked to Upapada lagna in some way, some positive manner, okay, is always good. Okay. The Upapada or Upapada second house having linked to signs of Mercury can cause infidelity.
Okay. There is gonna be a lot of disturbance in the mind of people who will listen to this.
My objective is not that, but it's important to understand. So, yeah, but this is the dictum, right? See, Mercury, Buddha was born out of infidelity, right? Between Chandra and Tara. That's the story of his birth. Now, the UL second house, Upapada Lagna second house, can show the certain diseases which can affect the spouse. As I said, either the second house tries to always end. It's the Maraka Bhava for the Upapada. So if there is certain malefic combinations or certain planetary combinations, which will come to in the next slide, that will show the kind of disease which can afflict the spouse.
There is always this question that arises, the common question. Second house supposed to feed, support, but it's Maraka. It kills. And this is the common question. How do you decide whether it's going to support or whether it's going to end the relationship? What's going on? How to deal with this?
Firstly, why should it kill? Second house. If it is a house of food,
yes,
then why? Right?
Because it cuts down the food.
Yeah. So because we all have a certain amount of food for our life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just like we have a certain amount of karma for our life. We can only earn certain amount of food or wealth in our lives. Okay. So there is a limit to that. Okay. And the second house is showing, okay, you have this much of limit. When it is ending, it's like a battery. When the battery is discharged,
mm-hmm.
it's not the battery which is killing you, but the battery is over. It's got discharged. Mm-hmm. It's showing the duration of how much energy you have or how much food you have. That is why second house is as a Maraka. Okay.
Mm-hmm. When battery goes down, you have to either or recharge it or I don't know, change the battery.
Yeah. So if second house has benefits, then obviously you have a longer duration because of that. And if you have malefics, you have a shorter duration. That's the simple way to understand it. Okay. This is one of the important things to correct the Upapada lagna. Okay, and at times you can also use it to correct the Janma lagna of spouse. That is, the spouse's Janma lagna is trines or seventh house to the Upapada lagna.
Mm-hmm.
Or it will be somewhere strongly linked in the sense that the Lord will be the same. Okay, in the chart of in my chart, let's say the Lord of Upapada lagna goes to a sign which is the lagna of the spouse.
Mm-hmm.
That way also you can connect. Okay. The other important thing is that the 5th house and 9th house from the Upapada lagna shows children. Okay. Now here it is interchange. Normally we take 5th house in male chart for children and 9th house in female chart for children, right? But here it is interchange because the Upapada is showing the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm. And we have
right. So I am a man. In my case, my Upapada is showing my wife, who is a female. So from that Upapada, it will be 9th house. So in male charts, we see 9th house from Upapada for children, and similarly in female charts, we will see 5th house from Upapada for children.
So does it mean that if we look for the children like 5-9, that from Upapada we can also look for the 10th house to see what is it that spouse doing, maybe brothers, sisters, like 3rd house and stuff like that?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can look at that.
Does it mean that 7th house from Upapada, it's the person itself?
Yeah, so that's where, when you extend a concept too much, you should be careful. Okay. This is in your chart itself, right? So, but it may be what you are to the spouse.
Mm-hmm. I see.
That, what you are to the spouse also may change depending on which Upapada you're looking at, right? Which spouse you're looking at. Okay. So, these are the basics. I'll also show this slide where I have put together the various combinations. This specifically for second house from Upapada.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, if you have Mercury and Ketu, then it causes bone issue. Okay. Now, a simple way to understand this maybe complicated slide is wherever your Ketu with one of the Tara Grahas. Okay, Tara Grahas are the 5 weekday planets apart from Sun and Moon. Okay?
Yes.
Which is Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Right? So
Agni, Jala.
Exactly. The Tattva.
Tattva Graha.
5 Tattva Grahas. Okay. So the Ketu is basically, when it conjoins them, it is damaging the Tattva. Okay. So Mercury is ruling Prithvi Tattva. So basically, bone issues indicating the Prithvi Tattva is getting damaged. The structure is getting damaged. Venus plus Ketu is called blood disorder, but basically it is indicating some Jala Tattva issue. And these are the primary ones, but similarly you can extrapolate for the other tattvas also. But Ketu is specifically bad for these Rajas Grahas. Okay. And the remedy is going to the Tattva Devata. Okay. Then this is one thing, when Mercury is linked to Mars and Saturn, okay, then it causes Nasika Roga. Okay. Now, what Mars and Saturn are doing is, Mars and Saturn combination is called Yama Yoga.
Yama Yoga.
It's like Yama coming in, right? So this Yama is affecting Mercury, and Mercury is rules nose and nasal passage and all that. So that's why Mercury is getting, and also breathing for that matter. Okay. When Sun is with Rahu and Saturn, it causes Asti Jvara. Okay, this is bone fever. Here basically the Agni Tattva is afflicted, because Sun rules Agni Tattva. Now, when Sun and Rahu are together, the solution is going to Jupiter. And this is another principle which we have to understand here. Whenever any planet is conjoining Rahu, okay, what is getting afflicted is the fifth planet in weekday order from that. Okay. So when Sun and Rahu, I'm sorry?
From the planet that is conjoined with Rahu.
Yeah, the planet which is conjoined with Rahu.
So
okay.
Sun and Rahu, this is eclipse combination as well. And
yes.
We go to Dakshinamurti as the Jupiter. Okay.
Yes, we go to Dakshinamurti also because it's Jupiter. It's eclipse as well as Jupiter. So why? Because from Sun, if you count the weekdays, Jupiter is the 5th. Okay. Similarly, if Moon plus Rahu conjoin, then it is affecting Venus.
Yes.
Okay. And vice versa also. When Venus and Rahu conjoin, it affects Moon. When Jupiter and Rahu conjoin, it affects Sun. Okay. So there is this complementary effect which is there. Okay. And this is important to understand in some charts where we'll see also, like there's an example of Venus plus Rahu. And yeah, like Jupiter plus Saturn causes ear disease. Ear is linked to sound, Akash Tattva, sound. So Jupiter is basically linked to Akash Tattva. Okay. This is interesting. Jupiter plus Rahu, as I said, affects Sun, and hence this causes dental issues. Sun rules bones. Okay. Saturn and Rahu is causing Upapada. Upapada means some sort of scandal, bad name, infamy, and all that. And depending on the type of sign which this Saturn plus Rahu combination is there, it causes a particular type of infamy. Okay. So if, let's say, if it is in the sign of Sun, it may cause some issues with the government. Okay. Some taxation issues or something like that. If it is in the sign of Jupiter, it is reversed, because Jupiter is Jiva. So it may cause murder of someone. Okay. If it is in the sign of Mercury, then
can we make this count? Because we said that whoever conjoins the Rahu, the 5th Graha by the weekday order is the one that afflicted, becomes
Correct.
afflicted, right? With Saturn, with Shani with Rahu, does it apply this rule as well?
Yes, it applies. Shani plus Rahu affects Mercury. Yeah. Similarly, Saturday, Mercury plus Rahu affects
Monday, Tuesday. So we don't count in this order, weekday order. We don't count Rahu Ketu. Is right?
One second, let me just count it.
We exclude.
Mars, I'm sorry, it is affecting Mars. My mistake.
So
Saturn plus Rahu is affecting Mars, and similarly, Mars plus Rahu will affect Saturn. You count, okay, in this count, what you do is you consider Rahu and Ketu is 1.
Rahu and
Then
Ketu is 1, okay. Because Rahu is already in this combination, okay.
Yeah, you consider, so like you have, as if you have 8 numbers.
8.
It's 1 to Rahu, like that.
So we count Saturday, then we count Ketu, I guess.
So for example, let's say Saturn plus Rahu, right? So you count Saturn, then Rahu Ketu is 1, number 2, Sun, Moon, Mars, that is the 5th.
Okay, yeah.
That way.
Okay. So depending on the sign of Rahu, we see the
sign, sign where Rahu is placed, that will cause a particular type of scandal. Okay, and we have one specific case for that also. Now, Saturn and Rahu, if they are in Aquarius or Pisces, okay. Now, if they are in Aquarius or Pisces, and this is the second house from UL, then the UL itself is a sign of Saturn, right? Either it is Capricorn or Aquarius. So then it may not cause, because Saturn will not try to damage its own signs. It will not cause a scandal, but it will still, Saturn has a tendency of causing some issues, so it will cause some disease to the individual. Okay. So let's move to the cases now. I think
before we go to the cases, let me just I don't know. We will. I think we will make this our meeting as several parts. So we're gonna just this first part was about fundamentals, about Upapada, about arudha, and in the next in continuation of this video, in the next video, we will discuss some examples and see how it applies on the charts, and how can we examine the charts having the knowledge of the Upapada. So thank you very much. See you in the next one, in the continuation.